Hello everybody, it's July 1st, 2022. Going to take a look at Bitcoin today. First, we're going to look at what I said on Monday. So here we are. I am on vacation now, so sorry you saw my recording software there for a second. All right, so on Monday I said, that I was still pretty sure, 70% or so that we'd already seen the macro bottom with that 5-wave move up off the low. That was very nice. But we weren't quite sure if we were done with that corrective second wave or not. Possible that it needed to dive down into support in the 19 to 20K region first. And then once we see a sustained break above 21.7, we should see a nice large move upwards. So basically, the short term was choppy and unclear. But the medium to long term is, likely to resolve with a strong bullish push, is what I said then. So let's take a look and see where we are now. We've had some wild action, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it isn't great that this didn't continue upwards. So let's just go over that. First off, we do have what we can call a very complete correction down here to that 17.6 area. And then, like I said, we have a very decent 5-wave move up off the low, right? And technically, this is all pretty decent support for the second wave. If we go from the bottom to the top with a fib, we're right here between the 382 and the 618 area. And realistically, second waves can go down, even to the 786. So, anywhere in here is realistically fine. Below the 886, if we go down below 18K, that would definitely not be a good sign. And obviously breaking down below that previous low wouldn't be the best thing in the world either. So the question is, what is going on here? And, if we're looking in the micro action, this pretty clearly was not shaping up to be an impulse. I said as much as it was going up there. Unfortunately, did not look like an impulsive wave, so it started looking, as we started breaking down here, it looked quite likely to dip down into this area to try again, right? But at this point, we've got a decent A, B, and C wave down for that second wave. And see potential bottom right there for that second wave there. Now, the problem is, what we'd really like to see at the end of a second wave, of course, is a nice big impulse up, which, do we have that here? We can go down to the 5-minute and look. Let's just see where we are on this retrace right now. Yeah, that went to a little bit below, didn't break the 886, so technically could still be in second wave territory. Let's just take a quick look down on the 5-minute and see what's going on. So off of this low, I can't say with confidence that this is 5 waves. It's not a clear one if it is. I suppose there's a possibility that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. But the big problem that we saw, unfortunately, is that off of that high, that pretty clearly is 5 waves down. And if we check that, I'm pretty sure the math lines up fib-wise. We have the 4th wave come up here to about the 618 area, and the 5th wave go down between the 1236 and the 1382. So that very much looks like a 5-wave decline, which would suggest further downside. Now, what we haven't seen quite yet probably is the ABC. This would likely be a... if this was going to be B and this was going to be C, we'd expect for C to go higher. So we're probably at a minimum going to get a little push higher. Let's just see where that went. It did go to the 618. I mean, that is realistically, C wave going to the 618. It can happen. So maybe that is all the correction that we get there, if this is going to continue further down. but it's also possible that we're going to get A, B, and C up, a little bit higher before further downside. Or like I said, it's completely possible that we are still just within the second wave support and we get a better move up at some point. But as of right now, the micro action does have me a little bit concerned. Because like I said, that 5-wave decline looks a lot more clear than this pump here. So what is the case? Where are we? If we do get further downside, where are we going? Unfortunately, this has become such a mess. I can't say with much certainty. Let's try to think logically about this. It's possible this is all, maybe this is part of a correction upwards here. Maybe we're getting an ABC down, where this is 1, this is 3, and that's 2. That channel seems to make some sort of sense. So maybe that's what we're doing. 1, 2, 3, we just saw 4, and we're going to do 5 with one more minor low. That's a possibility, or potentially down for an equal low possibility as well. And then we could still go up from there. That would be probably the best case scenario at this point with the failure to launch here. Although for now, aside from this decline looking like 5 waves, if this stays above this low here, if we stay above this low here, this could technically still be a 1, 2, and then break out upwards. I'm not going to rule it out yet, as long as we're above that low. So above 18.6, we still retain some sort of bullish potential, albeit a messy one. Below 18.6, the best case scenario is that we're doing this sort of diagonal downwards, and this is actually going to be the end then of the correction. So that could be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, somewhere lower like that. Let's put that in red for now. And then, worst case scenario would be that all of this is corrective within a larger 4th wave, meaning this is not the 5th wave bottom here. This is actually a 3rd wave bottom, and we still have one more low to go. I say that's worst case because that would mean that this is 1 and 2 to the downside, and this would then project 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This could project us down to about 15K. And that would break below my macro danger line of 15.7, where below 15.7, I don't really think I can even call the larger term picture an impulse anymore. And that would obviously be bad. So let's just put that in blue. I want to be aware of all of these possibilities and kind of tracking the micros within here to see what we think is most likely. Going forward, right now, I can't really pin down, which one is going to be the most likely, but we really, all of this action is very, very choppy. And if you go back to my video a few weeks ago, where I broke out my macro bottom finder, that's still, that chart has not been wrong on calling a macro bottom since the beginning of Bitcoin, basically. So no matter what, I'm fairly comfortable holding my spot positions here. And as I've said before, even in the very worst case scenario where we break down below this 15.7 line, that would basically be the end of a larger third wave down in a much larger bear market, basically. And we would still see from that level a pretty large move up. From here, we should see a pretty decent move up for a fourth wave, potentially back up into the low to mid 20s, where we can dump, even the spot positions that we picked up, probably dump them there somewhere between, 20 and 27, give or take. If that plays out, I'll go over that when the time arises. But for now, we're going to give the bulls the benefit of the doubt because we are still above 15.7. We do look like we have a completed correction, and I'm still looking at this move up off the low here as a pretty decent impulse. So I am going to give the bulls the benefit of the doubt here for a little while longer. And we just have a couple of danger lines to watch. The first one being this 18.6 low. So I'm just going to make a line there. That's important. Okay, so if we break that, we may be in this diagonal. That'd be the best case scenario. And then breaking 17.6, it could be an extension of this. If we're just doing if we take our time, basically coming down like this and kind of just barely break it and then go up, that would be a nice double bottom then. That would be fine. So like I said, that's sort of the best case scenario. But if we see a sustained break of that 17.6 low, then I think it's likely we're headed down to that 15K area instead. And then we'll be looking to probably get out on the next major bounce because the larger chart will no longer look incredibly good. So anyway, that's those are my thoughts right now. I know, unfortunately, it's not as clear as we had hoped at the beginning of the week. The action has been frustrating, to say the least. So anyway, I will touch base with you all on Monday. I'll be back then, and I can do a video on Monday night for 4th of July. So you guys have a excellent weekend, and hopefully, best case scenario, Bitcoin just kind of goes sideways for us or breaks out upwards, and we don't see a nuke this weekend. But normal markets are closed. Anything can happen on a holiday weekend. So stay on your toes. If you're in leverage positions, obviously be careful in them over the weekend. All right, guys, have a good one. Talk to you later.